I actually think, obviously after Casimero has beaten Rigondeaux, that Casimero might have one of the most best resumes within boxing. It's certainly up there. I think it's one of the most underrated resumes in boxing in terms of the opponents that he's fought and the opponents that he's actually beaten. I mean, he's been in there with some very credible names, and I think it's I know a lot of people don't like Casimero because of his the way he carries himself, the way he actually just the way he carries himself. Like, if you look at most Filipino fighters, they like to carry themselves with grace and dignity, and they seem to be like very high on like respect and just being a decent person outside of the ring. But I feel like with Casimero just doesn't really care about any of that. Like, he doesn't really care the way he portrays himself, and he really doesn't care what anyone else thinks about him. But in terms of his resume, in terms of what he's accomplished, in terms of the fighters that he's fought and the fighters that he's beat, I mean, Casimero's probably got, I wouldn't say he's got the best resume. I mean, it's not like on the level of a Pacquiao or on the level of for example, a Canelo, who's got a tremendous resume. Regardless of like the decisions that he's got that are quite questionable, like for example the Golovkin fight, you can't deny the fact that in terms of the opponents that he's actually fought, Canelo's probably got one of the best resumes in the sport. But I think Casimero's got an underrated resume, so it's a resume that not of people have mentioned. I mean, if you take it into account, this guy's he beat Zolana Tete in the UK, right? Okay, he took his undefeated record and he knocked him out in the third round. On top of that, he got his WBO title, and then he beat Charlie Edwards, who became a WBC world champion after that loss. I mean, that's an incredible resume. Now, in his most recent fight, I personally think Rigondeaux, he lost that fight against Rigondeaux if the judges were fair. I mean, a 93 scorecard is just ridiculous. I mean, an 8-4 scorecard is just ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how they had Casimero winning by such wide margins, but in terms of him actually having a name on his record, like, regardless of what you think of the result, I mean, he got a win over Rigondeaux, whose only loss was to Lomachenko up to that point. So in terms of a resume, in terms of win-loss resume, I mean, I think you can make a case that Casimero's got one of the best resumes within the sport. He's certainly up there as one of the best resumes within the sport. Whether you like his personality or not, you can't deny the fact that this guy's an absolute warrior in terms of who he's for, and he likes to go on the road and go to opponents' backyards and beat them in their backyard, which is absolutely incredible. So yeah, in terms of his resume, I mean, I think you got to put it up there that he does have an incredible resume. I mean, just if you look at on his box rec, the places that he's fought at, he's the true definition of a world champion. I mean, he's for those that don't know, Casimero spent his career winning and defending his world titles on his opponent's home turf. He's won fights in Mexico, Nicaragua, the UK twice, obviously with Charlie Edwards and Zolana Tete, Thailand, USA, Argentina, and Panama. I mean, that's the definition of a true world champion. Most, like, for example, I'm not hating on him, but if you look at Mayweather just likes to fight in Vegas. He doesn't like giving his opponents any advantage. He likes to be the house fighter that has all the advantages. You know how they say in Vegas, the house always wins. That's basically Mayweather's method of operation. He wants to have all the advantages when it comes to fighting. He basically wants to have all the advantages. But if you look at Zolana Tete, Casimero does not give, he doesn't care. I mean, he would fight an opponent in his backyard, even though he's the champion, and he in terms of negotiations, he can easily say, listen, I'm the champion, you need to fight me in my own country. He doesn't do that. He goes to their opponent's backyard and he beats them in their backyard. I mean, regardless of what you think about the guy, I mean, it's quite incredible if you think about it. I mean, this guy is willing to go to all of his opponents' backyards, give them all the advantages, and he still beats them in their backyard. I mean, it's quite incredible. I mean, he's a fighter that has no fear in terms of the way he carries himself. So yeah, regardless of what you think about him, he's got probably one of the most underrated best resumes in boxing in terms of the opponents that he's fought, the opponents that he's beaten. I mean, and on top of that, he's fighting all of these fighters in their backyard. I mean, regardless of what you think about the guy, and let's be real, his next fight is probably going to be against Inouye or Donaire. I mean, these are legit. Like, Donaire is a dude that was on a pound for pound list. He's one of the greatest Filipino fighters of all time. I think he's a 9-time world champion in like 3-4 weight classes, and Inouye is like pound for pound on the pound for pound list. He's a 3-time world champion in 3 different weight classes. I mean, regardless of what you think about the guy, I mean, I'm not talking about how he carries himself outside of the ring, but in terms of like him as a fighter, the way he is as a fighter, I mean, I think it's clear to see that he's probably is one of the best boxing world champions. If you count interim titles, I mean, he's won probably about 5 world titles, 6 world titles in 3 different weight classes. I mean, this is incredible, regardless of what you think about the guy. So yeah, that's my opinion. Tell me your opinion on Casimero. I'm not talking about the way he carries himself outside of the ring. I'm just talking about him as a fighter. What do you think about him as a fighter? What do you think about his resume? I mean, he's beaten Charlie Edwards, Tete, and his latest win was against Rigondeaux, and he's probably going to fight Inouye or Donaire next. I mean, that's an incredible resume, regardless of what you think about the guy. But yeah, that's my opinion. Tell me your opinion, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.